The mission of Kamehameha Schools is to improve the capability and well-being of Native Hawaiians through education. But the capability and well-being of Native Hawaiians can also be improved upon in other fields as well.
This year's theme for the song contest in our 90th year is Olamau na Mele Makamai o Kamehameha, enduring Kamehameha classics. So in this 90th year, people are going to hear songs that are going to be very familiar.
90 years of success in carrying on a preliminary tradition is quite wonderful.
Every school needs traditions, at least one major tradition that will tie classes, generations of alumni, one to the other.
What I've experienced from growing up from a small kid time were these stories of how it's your kuleana, your responsibility, your privilege to be a part of this legacy, of this great history, which is Kamehameha.
You know, I don't think there's any doubt that it has carried us, in our generation, carried us through the culture.
The song contest is much more valuable now, and it teaches them the value of Hawaiian music and how Hawaiian music was an integral part of our culture.
Music is very important, and it's sad when you have schools taking out, the musical curriculum. So more so, it's great for the students at Kamehameha to continue to have that.
Behind all of how we felt and what we did and tried to project, there was a respect and a love for the princess. The fact that Bernice Pauahi Bishop has made it possible to do well, to achieve, and to win.
When I heard choral music, just a light went off. And I'm doing it to this day.
A cappella choral music means unaccompanied music. It's pure singing.
And because our ali'i were so talented and gifted, because as you study choral music, a lot of the ali'i in other countries were patrons, but not necessarily musicians or composers. So we're very lucky in that way. So they embraced it like many Western things and composed music of their experiences.
Choral singing was a part of our tradition from the time the missionaries came and brought choral music in 1820. So that's one of the good things that they brought. And I'm glad the schools continue that, because that is really a practice that was so much of a part of our tradition.
Instilling into the hearts and minds of our young people of Hawaii the beauty of Western music was indeed something which is invaluable.
So I did some investigation and managed to find a program for our very first song contest, and on the front it gave the year 1921. And would you believe I found somebody who did participate in first song contest, and he's one of our most wonderful graduates, Wright Bowman Sr. The first contest was just between the boys, see, and I was in the 7th grade then. And we almost won that contest. It's amazing how many people who didn't win say, we almost won. And it was held right at the entrance of the Bishop Museum. And it was at night, and the only lights they had was from the automobiles shining. And it's an amazing, wonderful story. But the fact of why this happened, and why do we have a trophy for the boys named George Alanson Andrus Trophy? The cup is to be known as a memorial to one whose magnetic and untiring leadership stimulated the students at the Kamehameha schools to a high quality of music. But this man was so beloved and so respected that it was decided to start a song contest in his honor. And I find that absolutely so touching and so amazing a story.
It's unique. Do you know of any other schools in the country that do this? I don't know.
To have a total of 1,800 students sing as a choir It's not supposed to happen, but it does. And I can't tell you why it does.
Maybe it kind of goes back to tradition. It's something that has always worked. So you just kind of bring your pohaku, your stone, you kind of build as you go, and you don't question how does this entire huge edifice get built. You just kind of do your part, and everybody does their part, and it happens.
My memory of the school was that when we first got here as boarders, because I came from the Big Island, the Army was still occupying the girls' schools.
Two forces dictated the energy at Kamehameha. One was ROTC. I mean, you lived, ate, and breathed military. We were, in effect, a military institute in those years. And the second thing was singing. The songs and the music was a way to escape from that and be yourself.
You know, music was a required class at the school when I went to school. It wasn't elective. Everybody had to go to music. And poor thing, some of our children couldn't carry a tune.
There were a lot of students that didn't know how to read music. All they did was when the notes went up, they went up. If it skipped several spaces, they had to wish that their neighbor knew what they were doing.
We just memorized parts.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
But we sang all the time because that was we just loved singing.
We had 2 song contests. One song contest for the girls themselves, and then the song contest for the boys, the men. So there were 2 separate song contests.
And our song contest was 2 nights, Friday night and Saturday night.
In those days, it was held in the old Kekuhaupio, an old Quonset hut, airplane hangar type of structure. Each class sang 2 songs. One song was the prize song, and the other song was a choice song. The prize song was sung by every class, so that there was a common denominator.
We always wore white for song contest. Actually, most of our special programs, we wore white. We wore white to church, and we wore white for a song contest. So it's always, whenever we're asked to wear something special for events, I don't feel we should wear multicolored things. I still think I'm supposed to wear white, so it's embedded in my memory.
We'd all have to wear our dresses, and all the hymns had to be exactly the same, 14 inches from the floor.
And we actually had to wear our dresses in front of a panel of teachers to make sure that it was appropriate.
No sleeveless dresses, nothing past the...
And no low back.
And your collarbone in the back, nothing lower. Unbelievable.
We wore our khaki uniforms. ROTC was a major part of our curriculum. And so we wore our uniforms day in and day out.
We used to call it khaki uniforms. And when I went to the continent and started saying khaki, they said, "What's khaki? You mean khaki?" Well, we all wore khaki uniforms.
When did the dress blues? So the dress blues came in after.
There was the dress blues before and after my time. So I think between the years of 1947, it was all khaki.
You know, growing up in that tradition of choral music and now being, in a lot of ways, you know, at the doorstep of its sources.
Dorothy Gillette, she really brought the lyrics to life. You know, because I swear, I think her genius in the arrangement, I jokingly say that it was all in her bun, and that I always wished that I had that bun.
Harold Turney, he was our choral teacher. He and Mrs. Gillette, Dorothy Gillette, they worked well together. So she was proficient in the Hawaiian, and he was in the English part of the music. So when the two of them combined, you know, it was just magic. That combination was really worked well together.
Our music teacher was Laura E. Brown. The harmonizing of songs now have a way of camouflaging the melody line. I think Laura E. Brown was able to preserve the melody line and build the harmony around it.
You're looking back in the 50s, the 60s, a lot of singing, not only on the campus, a lot of singing in the homes, a lot of family gatherings, a lot of kanikapila. But as a boarder, we sang all the time. We sang in the dorms, we sang as we were going to football games on the bus, coming back from an activity or singing.
That was all natural. They just picked up the guitar or ukulele and they played it, and if you had a high voice, they would take the tenor. And then before you knew it, everybody was just filling in the different parts, and it was just beautiful.
The ladies in my group, like they wanted to get away. And one of the things they wanted to get away is to sing Hawaiian songs, because they didn't have any more than that, just as far as culturally speaking.
You know, we come from Makalapua place, and my parents, you know, they're happy-go-lucky, you know, and they always invite friends come over, and they start singing, you know, kanikapila, and we had carried a piano from the house outside in the yard, you know, and have a good time, and we sing. So that's the reason how we got into it. Came into our heart, you know, from the heart. That's why, you know, we love to sing. I love to sing with a choir. When you hear the tenors, first tenor, the second tenor, the baritone, and the bass, we sing together, and it really sounds, I cannot describe it. It's really nice, you know.
Back to 1887, the opening of the school, dance was perhaps even more violently attacked than language was.
We were the first class into Kunia, and they had a science chemistry room. And sometimes we would have people come up and dance, and there'd be a lookout to see who was coming by, waiting for Dr. Applegate, our chemistry teacher who had to come up from the boys' school. And he didn't mind. I mean, he thought that was wonderful. If we hadn't seen some of our classmates dance, we wouldn't even know who danced. But no, not allowed. Detention or worse for dancing standing up.
My senior year was a carnival, and the girls were going to stand up and do a mele that was written for the overthrow of the monarchy in Queen Liliuokalani Kaulananapua. We were really adamant. We refused to sit down and dance it. It needed to be something that we, at least at the minimum, stood up to dance. Our advisor, Nona Beamer, who was also our teacher of hula at Kamehameha, and our principal, Mrs. Gladys Brandt, went to bat for us with the trustees and argued for the right for us to stand up and dance this one particular song, standing up, put our foot out, and just did hand gestures. And we had permission. It was really hard. I think one of the trustees walked out of our performance when we did that. And it was really hard for us because I think we were just at the brink of at the very beginning of the Hawaiian Renaissance.
The music was an entity which we understood, and we already had our hands pretty much grasping. Got into Olelo, we start to learn our Olelo. And it helped me as a director, as an interpreter, give greater understanding into the interpretation of a phrase, an interpretation of a line. We'd have to say it this way. But in saying it this way, I still want to phrase it this way, because this is what that word means.
Hawaiian metaphor and Hawaiian poetry is just so beautiful and so elaborate that one can only hope to understand all the different levels of kauna in any one song.
Ke ano o ka olelo, o ka olelo e olelo ana e ho'ohana ana. Oia ke kahi ano no'ono o ke kahi. He no'ono no leila ka olelo Hawaii, he mea e ho'ono'ono ana I kou no'ono ke kahi maka no na mea Hawaii.
In our days, if you could dazzle the people, then you were going to win. Well, you can't get away with that anymore. You know, you got to know what it is you're doing. You got to know what it is you're singing, you know. And there are people out there now who can understand what it is you're saying.
I've done overall judging, you know, language and music. And so you look for both combinations of how well the pronunciation is, especially in phrasing, Hawaiian language phrasing, how well it fits, how the phrasing comes along, if the puana is clear.
As a contest judge, first we listen to the music, then we listen to the language, and we listen to the way it's pronounced and how it is pronounced so that it tells a story.
Ka hele ana I ko mamakua ma kia kulani a ole lohe la ko I ka olelo Hawaii. A ka I kia wā hiki ke lohe ka olelo Hawaii ma ki kula, ma oa, ma anei. He mai ka ino ka mea ke holomua nei, ke ho'onui nei ka inia. I ko mana o ina hele ma ko I ke la ala a ho'oma o holomua e mai ka iana, e mai ka iana.
I believe song contest helps in many different aspects. Hawaiian language and culture, it's prominent, it's up in the forefront. We are singing Hawaiian, we are singing Hawaiian mele, we are singing Hawaiian mele by Hawaiian composers.
What is the role of song contest in the ho'ike and Hawaiian culture? That certainly it's going to mean different things to different people, but you'd have to say that I think the students, especially when I look in their eyes today, they eat it up. And I think that they eat it up in a different way than we ate it all up in the 1970s. In many ways, many of them are more equipped because from birth, they have these expectations, they have images in their minds, they have a lot to work with, especially with regard to the language. And they've seen what hula has done in their lifetime. You know, they're born into a world where it's normal. It's incredible to see. I think from the beginning of the song contest as an event, there was always a time when we needed to fill in that period of time when the judges are tallying scores.
I knew they had to have something because when you put it on television, you can't have blank time. So there had to be a way to fill that. But I remember once running into Dr. Clayton Chong, and he said, you know, I can remember when when nobody had to try out to perform in Ho'ike. You know, you had to look for volunteers and prayed you'd have volunteers.
As we got into the 70s, Robert Casimiro, Wayne Chang, and Lena Ala Haini really set the stage, if you will, for this new kind of ho'ike, this new kind of presentation of Hawaiian culture.
Been watching the song contest since I was a little boy. Loved it all the way through. I saw the changes from that Mrs. Beamer made, and of course Robert Casimiro and Lena Alahaini, Wayne Chang. I mean, they were just like, they were my idols in the kind of innovative ways that they could use language and music and dance to tell stories.
And then as we sort of moved from the 70s into the 80s, Holoua Stender, who then became the chant and dance instructor, essentially the kumuhula at Kamehameha, really was the one to sort of take the reins and move it into a new direction. And Holoua, called me in, and we were able to work together to sort of see what we could do to take this new idea and move it into other spaces, other realms of expression.
I think we realize the significant medium that we have, and we try to take advantage of that in good and positive ways. I don't think it's just for the school. One of the first things we discuss is what do we want the community to walk away with? What do we want the audience tuning in to understand about Ho'ike?
A century has now passed since annexation. Just how far have Hawaiians come after 100 years? For most of this century, our people were punished for speaking our native language. Today, Hawaiian is spoken freely throughout the land. Immersion programs are everywhere, and there are now graduate degrees available in Hawaiian studies. May the Hawaiian language continue to flourish in our homeland.
In every single one, I've seen students sort of take hold of the parts that they were given and were able to, extend them and personalize them, and we were all changed by that Ho'ike experience. It's very, very powerful.
I pledge allegiance to my people, the Kanaka Maoli of this land. I will care for the Aina as it has cared for my people for generations. I will care for the streams, ocean, and beaches which bring us life. I will always remember my kupuna, those with us and those who have passed. I will continue Olelo, my native language. I will be like the shark and boldly protect my heritage. I will be like the Olona and bind my people together. I will be like the hawk, always searching beyond the horizon. And above all, I will praise and give thanks to Keakua, maker of all things. Eola! Eola! Eola mo! Eola! Eola mo! Eola! Eola mo!
Well, everyone here in the arena tonight is rising to their feet, obviously very proud of being Hawaiian.
I don't know how many people realize how much work goes into Ho'ike. Just for I believe, the experience and for the ability to represent your school in that portion of song contest. And so I've always admired them from a distance and never jumped in. Thank goodness for all of you.
So when Holoua came along, he really emphasized and had us focusing on presenting Mo'olelo Hawaii. Stories about our people, our places, where we live, our Aina. Through the hula, through the oli, those kind of stories were shared with the world during Ho'ike.
I know some people will say, oh, we're only going to watch the halftime show because that's all they might be interested in. So for some people, they just wait for the Ho'ike, and that's when they tune into song contest.
Kumu Fong just does an outstanding job of using that venue to tell a story that's important to our state and to our world about the Hawaiian people.
The whole genre of Ho'ike had become something which is just so amazing and hasn't stopped to today.
The song contest is a way for us to carry forward our oral history. That's the way Hawaiians have always expressed ourselves over time and shared our stories over time. And so the song contest is exactly that.
I think, everybody realized that here was an opportunity to carry on traditions and songs that nowhere else, I think, was being done.
Song is important because song continues the story. Songs tell the stories of the Hawaiians and tells the stories of unique things that have happened in our lives and throughout the years.
Whenever you're going through it as a student, you have one mind frame, and then many years later, you always look back upon it and you go, wow, I've gotten so much more out of that than I realized.
The students at the time, I don't think they realize how important it is, but my class is still talking about the song contest today.
The day of song contest, we weren't given milk. There wasn't milk. Milk was not part of the lunch menu, and it wasn't part of the dinner menu. It was no, because you had to have, your voice had to be
that's
crisp
right.
and clean.
Right,
yeah, so there's no milk, right? Then you start to hear your song, and it's beautiful. Yeah, you go like, oh, we're gonna win, we're gonna win.
Of course, the class of 1967 swept as seniors. We probably didn't win anything prior to that, but of course. And then they all say that it was fixed. The seniors always won. But that's maybe true, but it's definitely not the case now.
So my freshman year rolls around, and I will never forget Papa Lyman then coming to the stage, and he gives this famous speech where he says,
I recall hearing the minister say, and the meek shall inherit the earth. Tonight, I must confess that I agree wholeheartedly with the award that I am making.
And Papa Lyman went up there and told the seniors, basically he didn't say the seniors, but he said,
Old bulls, old cows, move over. Freshmen.
He didn't even finish his sentence, and the entire arena just sort of erupted. And it was our class as freshmen, just really leaped into the air. This entire class, and we had behind us these kahili that were starting to fall, and it was chaotic, and it was wonderful because I believe we were the first freshmen to ever win in the chord competition since it began.
Well, chairs are flying, kahilis are falling, the juniors are stamping. Of course, the seniors very dignified, but sad, but their hearts are good.
It was difficult on the drill field, in the weeks following, because of course all our commanding officers were seniors who were not pleased with our win, and showed that to us on the drill field. It was tough, but it was worth every moment of it.
How did we do in song contest? Well, our sophomore year was great.
Yeah, we started off strong.
Our freshman year actually was really good too.
Yeah,
we did really well. Of course, we didn't win, but everybody said.
But we lost. We only lost by 1 point.
That's what all the freshman classes do. They only lose by 1 point.
Alo is losing.
Most definitely, yeah.
Lo is losing. In fact, such a pro loser. After song contest, I went up to Mr. Noble and I demanded to see the judges' sheets.
I mean, whether you win or lose after song contest is definitely a stronger camaraderie among each class. And then when all the classes stand to do that school song at the end, or imua, or all the mass numbers, it You know, you don't hate the class next to you anymore. It's like one big family.
I'm a 71 grad, here's a 48 grad, here's a 51 grad, here's a 57 grad, here's a 90 grad. And we all find ourselves on the same time space. That's the beauty of a tradition in music.
You look at the haumana on all of the bleachers again. You know, their faces have changed, but their character hasn't.
I think just to hear them as the generations, the difference in generations, I think speaks well for itself to how important this song contest means, not only to us, but to the whole community.
In those days, I had to use a 4x5 camera.
Yeah.
So I had to do the same thing as they do now, only I use a big camera. We went out to take pictures. We had to load up all these film holders. Not that they'll take a roll of film with us.
I don't think there's any other school anywhere that would place 1,800 students in the civic arena and televise it statewide, as well as video streaming through the internet.
This year we are going to add live chat and Twitter. So not only will you be able to see the experience, but you'll actually be able to be part of it.
I think that's going to be
That's cool.
fun.
I'm
gonna follow.
What I like about the younger musicians in Hawaii today is that they make me believe in that rainbow that I saw this morning in Manoa, that there is hope, that they still love the value of our music, of our language.
We're not going to be singing for ourselves this year. We're also going to be singing for the other people who sang that song as well, the class of 1984. By singing our best, maybe people will remember this song even more and will think back to that time when we sang it.
When you're a song leader and you're 14, 15, 17, you don't have all of that life experience under you, and yet you're put into a position where you have to be thinking about the interests of 200, 450 students.
I remember there were some rehearsals where I would just cry after rehearsal, and I couldn't get over it until the next day. I just felt so defeated because I was still gaining their trust at that time, and now senior year, I trust them, I love them, and it's it's being returned. And you don't want to act like you're a teacher and someone higher than them, because you're not. I mean, I'm just their friend, I'm just their classmate. And I think it's really good because they finally know that I'm there for them, and I just want to do whatever it takes to help them sing our best.
Most of them are not singers. Most of them may not take the Hawaiian language. So for them to come to that point, the night of song contest, it's truly a miracle. And you know in your heart that they can do it because you've seen it happen for years and years and years. But when you're sitting there and listening to them, you're so proud. And I think they feel proud of themselves too.
There is a documentary called One Voice that's been produced by Pacific Islanders and Communications and Juniroa Productions, an 85-minute documentary on the song contest.
They actually came in and shot video for the entire 7 or 8 months that it takes to put a song contest together.
I always kind of get emotional when I think about song contests, especially this year. If you sing the song and you're not interpreting it correctly, then you're truly not singing the song. You can be the best soprano, but if you don't interpret what you're singing, then there's just no passion, nothing behind it.
And I wanted to do a documentary particularly about the song contest because I felt that telling the story through mele, telling the story through song, could tell people outside of Hawaii who we were and who we are.
You know, when we think of the song contest, we don't necessarily think of it in terms of technology. Technology and the love for technology is probably one of the most profound Hawaiian traditions, because Hawaiians have always had the ability to look at the world around them and say, well, I need that, and I can apprehend that to make my life better.
But I was actually thinking about making a separate site for Facebook for the senior women so they can understand their song a little more. So we were going to put it on video and then put it like on the site. So we were definitely thinking about using Facebook because everyone's always on Facebook now.
Technology has allowed us now to have a voice throughout the world as to who we are as a people, as a race, as a language, and as a culture.
Everybody wants their 5 minutes of fame. Perhaps it's easier to embrace the idea that that fame for our culture has come and been done well already, so why should I bother? Every 5 minutes is important. And if it can be for our people, our culture, and what we believe in, then live the 5 minutes.
The two neighbor island campuses have developed their own song tradition, music tradition, if you will. Hawaii and Maui campuses have an event. Maui has an aha mele each year, and the Hawaii campus has a ho'ike, in keeping with longstanding Kamehameha tradition and commitment to Hawaiian culture and music and dance.
Nobody sings music the way Kamehameha does. You cannot have pursued excellence and be satisfied with less.
We have had so many song contest leaders go on to participate in musical activities in their life.
It's the singing, it's the competition, but much more than that, it's, you know, it's like all the life lessons you learn within it, working as a group, you know, doing your part, making sure that you're taking care of yourself and helping anybody else that may need help.
I remember being inspired by two seniors that year. It was Thomas Akana and it was Roland Casimiro. They came, and then Robert was with them too. But they came down and they got around the piano, and the way they approached that song, it was so musical. It was haunting.
As the three of us sit here before you now, there are thousands of people behind us, thousands, who have supported us. We acknowledge you, we love you, and we thank you. We, I think, hope that there is some semblance of that now at Kamehameha.
And how can we not recognize the critical influences of Robert Casimiro? Robert Casimiro made a lot of the music contemporary by taking these classics and then sort of adding owning it, having this generation be able to own it.
Our concern really dealt with the kids and what they were made to realize that they could do. And that it helped boost who we were as people was a nice aside as well.
It gives our students to showcase themselves, and they're totally worthy of showcasing and they come through with shining lights. So it's another venue of reaching our students and helping them pull themselves together and giving them a chance to fly.
I hope that they, and I'm sure that they appreciate what they are receiving at Kamehameha. We need for them to work hard and to realize that the Hawaiian people are finally occupying the kinds of positions that the princess would have liked to have seen us in.
You know, we're at a crossroads right now with our culture. You know, I think all of us want to see our culture have a place in these lands forever. And I think this is part of it. You know, I think there's going to come a point in time in, 5, 6, 7 generations from now that we're going to want Hawaiian culture to be as strong or if not stronger.
I hope in my heart that song contest lives forever. I want to see it another 90 years. It helps foster and promote Hawaiianness through the beauty of music and the beauty of dance. And I think it should go forward.
Ring, ring, Kalihi, ring, swell the echo of our song. Ring, 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 Kamehameha. Let hills and valleys loud our song Moki ana I ka wewe hi o Kaiwi.